How old are you now?
58.
You hold yourself pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. I like to think that I'm in as good shape as you. Maybe, maybe a little better. You're a little pale right now. But I mean, most people think if they study martial arts, the first thing you want to run out and do is kill somebody. When you study the martial arts, the last thing you want to do is do somebody.
So the word break.
It's knowledge. It's the knowledge that you can do it, so you can feel secure when you're walking around. Or somebody gets out of line. And since most people know that you're into it, they don't get out of line. And if you want to walk down the street, you can walk down the street, and everything's cool.
You never worry about.
I don't ever worry about anything. Not really. I worry if my band's going to be as good tonight as it was last night, but that's really not a problem because they always are.
Look, there was a hubbub, putting it mildly.
Hubbub.
Stirred up about your attitude toward country and Western music and what you said in Nashville.
The funny thing about that, Arnold, was that about 2 or 3 months ago, Stan Kenton became the center of some minor controversy because he had made detrimental statements about country music in California or New York, wherever the interview was. But I was in Nashville, and my opening night there, the press came into the club, and they asked my thoughts about country music, and I told them that I thought country music sucked. And then went on from there to tell them why I thought it had about as much musical integrity and discipline. I thought that the intellectual level of country music reached about a 4-year level, the age of 4. They took, they went to great pains to make sure that I knew how they felt about my answers, because one night they threatened to farm a club I was at, when the guy threatened to call up on the telephone, shoot me. But those things don't bother me. See, I have a problem.
Does it mean because it's simple?
No, I mean because I like to think that I live in a sophisticated country with sophisticated tastes, sophisticated attitudes, a way of dressing, a way of driving, a way of moving, and to have to step back in time to listen about somebody in the mines smoking out, or the Appalachian thing with poverty. You don't have to sing about poverty in the country, because all they have to do is go up to 139th Street, and you're inundated with poverty and ghetto. So I resented when a young guy goes out there and sings about all of these tragedies, of the poverty, and then steps from his recording studio into a $60,000 Corniche Rolls. It's very difficult for me to relate to that. You see, in order to sing about sadness and poverty, you must have suffered a little bit to make it believable. But how can an 18-year-old kid suffer getting $60,000 or $70,000 a night and driving away in one of his many Rolls Royces? It's not. There's no equality there. There's no equation. There's no way to relate to that. I don't understand.
The lyrics.
The lyrics are
something else. Right? The lyrics to John Henry's The Big Man, Cannonball Adderley's Big Man, was written by a middle-class Jewish girl. And Joe...
Well, she was married to a middle-class black.
No, Joe said that the answer was you don't have to be black and have lived it to pay dues. It comes from inside.
Maybe on a situation like that where you're talking about that kind of suppression and repression. But when you're talking about, I lived in the hills...
It's trying
wait a minute. Where are you living in the hills? You're living in the Beverly Hills. That's what you're saying. So, be honest. I'll buy honesty, but I won't buy bullshit. No time.
You kind of resent the idea. Thank you. You kind of resent the idea of an 18-year-old kid making that $60,000 for a gig, but the reason he is making that $60,000 is because somebody's willing to pay to see it.
Hold on a second. I don't resent the kid making the $18,000, the 18-year-old kid making $40,000 a night. That's not what I resent. What I resent is the presentation of this kid, the glamorizing of his lack of talent. If he had put 16 of his 18 years into this business, take it all out, man. Take out all. But if you've given an hour and a half to learning one tune and being a star and taking it out, while other people who have given a lifetime to perfect an art get nothing, that's what I resent. I don't resent the kids making it all.
What has to be done is the people have to be educated. The consumer.
No, you know who has to be educated? The disc jockey, the record man, the producer. They have to be educated. Because there's a very, very large segment right out there watching this thing and listening to records who never get an opportunity to hear the other side because the top 40 stations own radio practically. How many jazz stations in the city of New York? One, WRVR, and there's a problem now that it may go off the air. So you have a city close to 9 million people without a jazz station presenting the art that is America's art form.
That's
Jazz is
here in New York. Don't forget.
Jazz is the only American art form that's copied in every foreign country and played in every foreign country and respected in every foreign country, except the country from which it first came. Now tell me about that.
That's a good point. When you go on tour out of the country, over to Europe,
Fantastic.
what kind? The people
Fantastic.
know you over there more so than
If they don't, no, not more so, of course not more so, but equal. Otherwise, why would they ask me to come over there?
But they know people who are not as well known in this country far better.
Oh, of course. You mean some maybe.
Say Cannibal Adderley. That's a well-known person. He
was
was
a
more
star.
well-known in Europe than he
Well,
was in America.
You know who the most popular and probably the most respected drummer is in France? Kenny Clark. Now you may ask, who's Kenny Clark? Kenny Clark was a great drummer in this country.
The originator of pop
And
music.
found that his kind of playing was really not readily acceptable by not just the jazz people, but by the audience. So he went to Paris. He now owns a castle and property, and he's the most in-demand drum teacher, only because he's an artist. And in France, people respect art.
Joseph Baker had a drum.
Hey, we don't have to just talk about music, man. You look at some of the great bank holdups in England. The great train robbery. Another weapon was used. All done with the head, all with the mind. I think those guys deserve everything they stole because they did it. Wait a minute, it's not funny. I mean, I really mean that. They did it with brains, they did it with taste, they did it with class, and they didn't hurt anybody. So all they took was money. Why not? To use a gun, I don't believe that. I think that really is bad. But to be able to sit down and outthink and outsmart the fuzz and do it laughingly, practically, I think it's a dynamite trick. And I think it's marvelous. I give him credit.
I'll agree with that 100%.
Right?
Some of the best American movies were based on those kind of ideas.
Why not? Nobody got hurt. One of the greatest things I've ever seen was this last thing, past 2 or 3 days in England, in London, the Spaghetti House, right? They went down to rob an Italian restaurant in the Knightsborough section of London.
Right.
They stayed in there 4 or 5 days. The Scotland Yard was out front. They were talking to people. You can't see. You didn't see a gun. You didn't see a weapon. They got tired of waiting. They came up. They were captured. Nobody was hurt. Isn't that beautiful? I go to London every year. I have never seen a weapon in the years I've been going over there. The bobbies who walk the streets, if they do carry a club, it's inside the big outside coat they wear, so you never see a weapon. But you drive in Beverly Hills sometime, man.
Try walking.
Try walking Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
And you see motorcycle cops with helmets like the Second World War, a gun belt. Now they don't use the 30s, they use the Magnums now, right? That'll go to 8 kids at one time. And behind that, mace, cuffs, billy club, and a blackjack. Now, who the hell are they expecting to do? Who are they expecting to see? And what are they expecting to do? I mean, with that kind of firepower, man, you could invade a country. And that's just a motorcycle cop. Now, what's he doing? And what is that all about? They're going to bust a kid for smoking some grass? That'll never happen, man. Grass grows free. If the man upstairs didn't want grass to be around, all the fields would have been smashed anyhow, so you can't handle that at all.
What do we do with plain cigarettes? I don't smoke plain cigarettes.
I smoke both. And I smoke what I feel like. Because I feel as long as I'm not hurting anybody, in the privacy of my own quarters, what I do to me is for me. And that's all I ask. I don't say to you, hey man, don't smoke, it's bad for your gut. You want to smoke, it's your gut. I want to smoke, it's my gut. Don't tell me I won't tell you, we'll be friends.
So let's get away from music and talk about this. Let's talk about the idea of people being able to do what they want to do as long as they don't hurt anybody. I like that concept.
Well,
I live it.
So do I. I like to think I do.
What do you think about government like we're talking about here, the United States? We find out this isn't a free country. We knew it wasn't, but overtly, everyone said you could say what you wanted to.
As long as you said in the context of what they wanted to hear.
Right.
No, I resent. I'll tell you what I resent. A really big thing. It's not big to most people that I say it to because it's just so what. But to me it is. I don't like the government imposing a 55-mile speed limit. And there are reasons for it. First of all, nobody drives 55 miles an hour. I'm on the road all the time, and I know. I see trucks, I see cars. I'm doing 60, and I see guys pass me at 70 and 75, just like they did before. But I think when you consider that they say drive 55 miles an hour, you're saving a lot of gas, right? If you've got a high compression car, at 55 miles an hour, you're burning a lot of gas. Right?
Wasting your engine.
Now, you got police on the road, right? And one day I'm going to get somebody with statistics to really run this down for me. You got police cars that drive certain areas all day long. There's 4 shifts and they drive 6 hours a day or something, right? With no destination in mind. They drive up, they drive down, they drive up and they drive down. Where are they going and why? They're waiting for somebody to catch that's doing over 55 miles an hour. But what about all the gas that they're using that is non-essential? There's a system in California now where the police car gets in front of a line of cars. It says, follow me, right? He's got 55 miles on his car. He goes from the California line to the Nevada line, turns around, and goes back. Make sure all those cars going to Nevada are doing 55 miles an hour. As soon as they get over that line, man, you know they're not going to drive 55. But that cop who has now driven maybe 50 miles or 100 miles one way and 100 miles back to stop you from wasting gas, which he has just wasted for no reason. Where's all that gas going? When you can explain the sense of it, what is the purpose of it? They tell you that at lower speeds, there are fewer accidents, but there are also fewer cars. If there are fewer cars, there are bound to be fewer accidents. But when you go to England, and England is a lot worse shape than we are, I hear, this year, right? A gallon of petrol over there is $2.50 US money, right? The M1, the M5, the M6 highways still have the exact same speed limit they had before the difficulty with gas. Because they feel if you've got the money to spend for that gas and you want to put it in your car and you want to waste it in the first 20 miles and fill up again, dynamite, go ahead. But over here it's a game. You pass, you get a ticket. So you help the state, you hate the cop, your friendly terrorist on the highway who's running up and down. You pay him, you're going to do 55, 65 as soon as he leaves. But you've already left a nice taste, and you multiply that by all the guys he stops all day long. It's a very healthy thing for the states. So it's bullshit. It really doesn't mean anything. When are they going to drop that? When they do something like that.
Well, we've seen that. Let's talk. You talked about the family hour on television.
Yeah.
Now they're dictating.
So the government now steps in. The FCC is now owned practically by Washington. And they tell you from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, this is what you must show.
In other words, they're trying to tell us we're not old enough.
We're not old enough, right?
Our own.
But they have just discovered that there are something like 15 million kids between the ages of 5 and 8 that stay up. This is statistically proof. They stay up from 15 million kids from the ages of 5 to 8 watch television
Till 1 o'clock.
till 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, this was some kind of a poll that was taken. Well, I'm a grown man, and we're all grown men here. And I'll be a son of a bitch if I need somebody to tell me that I can't see a Cops and Robbers show at 7 o'clock at night. I don't want to have to sit and watch Howdy Doody. And Howdy Doody is violent compared to all that. Just think back a year. Look at Popeye. Popeye beat up everybody in sight. As soon as he drank the can of whatever and his muscle went up there, he hit Dumbo and Jumbo and Gumbo and he wiped everybody out. And the kids see that.
Those are
Man,
World War II propaganda.
That's right.
well, I mean, think about it.
Pluto was supposed to be.
Pluto was the bad guy, and he always got wasted, right, by a skinny sailor. Right? So the kid said, well, man, if I eat spinach, I'll be able to bust up Pluto. Ooh, Pluto may live on the block. Big kid, I'll beat him up. You watch all of the cartoon shows. What do they show? New weapons, undersea, up in the air. New weapons that wipe you out, disintegrate, steam you, burn you. And they get, that's okay to see.
Nursery rhymes are violent.
But, well, so what are we saying? We're all on accord here.